afternoon. Welcome to the midday news here on VFM 92.7. This news is coming to you live from our studios here at Adisawe Kanda and also streaming live on Facebook. We're also coming to you live on Kesmi 107.1 FM. Coming up this morning, Inspector General of Police Christian Tete deploys additional security personnel and armored vehicles to Nkwanta in the OT region after renewed violence left 5 people dead. Also, the IGP has transferred a police assault case involving Tamale-based artist Ibrahim Mahama from the Northern Regional Police Command to the police headquarters in Accra. We have details as the artist meets the police management over the matter. And much later, Parliament's Youth and Sports Committee has pledged to support transparency and accountability as government mobilizes funds towards preparations for the 2026 World Cup. I am Enyonam Haligah. Details of our headlines and other stories. Stay with us. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Now to our first story. The Inspector General of Police Christian Tete has deployed additional security personnel and armored vehicles to Nkwanta in the OT region following renewed violent attacks in the area, resulting to the loss of lives. In a statement issued by the OT Regional Police Command in Dambai, the police said the IGP ordered the deployment of 2 armored vehicles alongside officers from the National Police Operation Unit on the night of Wednesday to tighten security. It is not clear what sparked the latest round of violence, but police say 5 bodies have been recovered after the aftermath of the attack. Now joining us in studio is my colleague Christopher Success Trevor to bring us excerpt of the statement which has been intercepted by 3FM. Christopher, thank you for joining us.
Hi, Enyonam. Thank you so much. Rightly said, this statement was released earlier today, some few minutes ago, and it's headlined, IGP deploys reinforcement to Nkwanta following violent attacks. And it reads, the Inspector General of Police has deployed 2 armored vehicles with men from the National Police Operations to Nkwanta last night to beef up security following renewed violent attacks. It says calm has been restored in the area. It also goes on to say 5 identified dead bodies of 3 males and 2 females have been recovered from 2 separate locations in the Nkwanta South municipality by a joint team of the police, military, the BNI, the Defense Intelligence, and the Ghana National Fire Service personnel. Investigations have commenced to establish the circumstances surrounding the incident and to identify and bring perpetrators to justice. And the statement continues to say that the people of Nkwanta and its immediate environs are being urged to remain calm and to cooperate with security agencies by providing any relevant information that would assist with the ongoing investigation. The public is therefore urged to desist from misinformation and acts that have potential to flare up passions. And this was signed by the Deputy Superintendent of Police in the OT region. Enyo.
Thank you so much, Christopher. And she brought us some excerpts as the IGP, Christian Tete has deployed some additional security personnel and armored vehicles to Nkwanta in the OT region following renewed violent attacks in the area, resulting to the loss of some lives. Now, still on the police, this afternoon, visual artist Ibrahim Mahama, the man at the center of alleged police brutality on Eid, is seeking justice. He met the police management board on Thursday to present his side of the incident that led to the attack. IGP Christian Tete has transferred the case from the Northern Regional Police Command to the police headquarters in Accra. Now joining us for more updates on that is my colleague Stanley Niblew, who has followed the event at the police headquarters and joins us on the phone lines for more details. Stanley, good afternoon. If you can hear me, quite an interesting development we have there. But what has been the police saying on this issue?
Okay, Enyonam, so this afternoon, I must indicate that we all came to the realization on each day when there was news about reported attack or police brutality on Ibrahim Mama, an artist. And so following that incident, the Inspector General of Police and the Police Management Board, COMAP, extended invitation to Ibrahim Mama to come to Accra for a listening, for him to be listened to also give his account about what actually transpired on the D-Day, on the actual day that the incident occurred. And so this morning, Ibrahim Mama was flown into Accra from Tamale. He came in with his uncle, whom Ibrahim Mama had indicated that he started, there was a confrontation between him and the police that actually escalated and then extended to him as well. So he escorted Ibrahim Mama, and then Ibrahim Mama's lawyer also came in. When they got to the Kotoka Accra International Airport, they were giving police escort to the police headquarters in Accra, and they were locked up in a meeting that lasted about an hour for the police management board to also listen to his side. So after the engagement session with him, they then came out to address the media. And according to Red Clay, the CEO of Red Clay, he said that actually the incident, he held the position that Black Maria, also known as the IGP's Special Operations Task Force, actually assaulted him, and it wasn't a mob attack that actually inflicted wounds on his lips and then caused one of his teeth to be broken. And so for him, he wanted justice to be served. According to him, he does not want any compensation except that justice will be served. When he was questioned about what kind of justice is he looking for, he said we are in a democratic state, and so the police administration should fast track the investigation regarding the incident so that they can they can punish them if they are found indeed culpable. And then also came the Director of Operations for the Ghana Police Service, the Director of Public Affairs for the Ghana Police Service, that is DCOP Grace Ansah Kofi, who said that the case had been transferred from Tamale to Accra to the police headquarters so that it can be fast-tracked. And the IGP has taken keen interest in the case to ensure that it gets to its logical conclusion and then justice served as well. So we can listen to what they've been telling the media.
Okay. Yeah, IGP. Mr. Christian said, you know. Exxon Safre, Mr. Ibrahim Mahama, and no incidents I see what Samalino. Nampa audio say you're ne or nena busia for Kakra, Eba, IGP in chain headquarters. Yanini dingita home bebre, na yesheno, IGP mano, I reshe muse. A young Shishimua, a person, a friend, a criminal investigation, a assault case. And I am runs here no more involved. And so, say, a young Majuma Kwansu, say, BB X or Shima, and only a very police professional standards bureau. Some investigation in Union, a costu. Now, I read she said my IGP demand, and it's over. Say, Yanin no ben ye a boom, Nabibia at so ye. Kase regional commander IGP Amano in Shaya say case no Emra Accra headquarters now say headquarters they take over. Not just the highest level of the police service no has taken a keen interest in the investigation. Na ye share say ye 2 year bia ye be no star pepe. Midi kan cheche mu no investigators normal cuisine ho ekohwe nia ekoso omo esise ye toto omano asem nso omate so omano say Ibrahim Mahama so regional commander ne nkrofo eka ho ekohwe ni wofie ehun se ne ho ti sen na apo mu ti sen ne wa beka ye nsa wa ha ye tie no waka na asem ache IGP na yenso ya hye ne boss enhwehwe mu no ebe koso ye train footage bi a ye GFE signals bureau ho say then na esi sada na nkasa ne no so ehu en chicheche mu ebe there dia yɛbɛma amanfo asoate saa bere ni a yɛsɛ ne sɛ sɛnea polisi yɛ ne mo yɛ ne daa no asɛm so a yɛbɛhwɛ nhwehwɛmu na akyiri nsɛm a ɛka ho nyinaa yɛde bɛba abɛda mo nti obi anka na akoma nso ne yɛ na mo sɛ polisi sahene ɛto ne nan asi asɛm ne so deɛ ɔbɛhwɛ ama bibia akɔ so sɛnea ɛsɛ yɛda mo ase sɛ mo nso mo nya mmere ɛbɛdi asɛm yɛakyi ma thank you very much.
And that was DCOP Grace Ansa Akrofi. She's the Director of Police Public Affairs at the police headquarters. Now, Stanley, before you take leave of us, for some background to the story, can you give us a detail of how we got here in terms of what happened on the Eid day?
So it had to, according to narration from the Ibrahim Muhammad, the artist who is actually at the center of this alleged police brutality, his account indicates that it had to do with traffic congestion. They were in traffic driving after the Eid, and then they actually fell into a traffic jam, and so there came the IGP police operations team. That also came when they got to the certain intersection, the IGP operations team were also there at the moment. And because it was a gridlock, the IGP people, men, went off their car and they were trying to rectify the situation. But then there was an altercation that ensued between his uncle, who was in the vehicle that he was also in, Ibrahim Mama was also in. There was an altercation between his uncle and then the IGP's operations task force. But eventually, the altercation escalated within a short possible time, and then it became nasty. That was how come he was assaulted. And then he was also taken to the Sakasaka police station for questioning until he reached out to his father, Alhaji Sabana, who came to the police station to bail them.
So much, and that was my colleague Stanley Nibler, who this afternoon was at the police headquarters, bringing us some details on some events that ensued between the Black Maria team and the visual artist Ibrahim Mahama on Eid Day. Now, away from that, to take you to Parliament, where Parliament's Youth and Sports Committee has given the strongest assurance of transparency and accountability in government's fundraising drive towards the World Cup. Chairman of the committee, Ernest Nogbi, is calling on Ghanaians to support the initiative while assuring that all funds raised will be put to proper use.
The committee is not an administrative. And we are also aware that the members of the committee are not staffs of the ministry. But we are also aware that the committee has oversight responsibility over the ministry. So whatever the minister does, or any member from the ministry, they have to be accountable to the committee, and the committee must make sure that that accountability is done. So yes, you may see that we are not part of the ministry, and probably we may be impotent or incapacitated to do some of these things. But as oversight committee responsible for sports and recreation, we have every right to delve into the matter, financial matters, because they will definitely come here for approval and budget, etc.
That was the chairman of Parliament's Youth and Sports Committee, Ernest Nogbi, there. Joining us on the phone lines is my colleague Grace Hamajiman, who sat through the meeting this afternoon, where she's bringing us some updates on that. Grace, good afternoon. If you can hear me, what specific mechanisms is the committee proposing to ensure that there's transparency and accountability in handling the funds for the 2026 World Cup?
Right, and we know that government last week launched the initiative to raise some funds to support Black Stars' appearance at the World Cup. This is coming on the backdrop of the fact that there have been calls from civil society organizations and other individuals on the fact that if government wants to support the Black Stars, or if government wants to supporters from the country to go and support the Black Stars. It shouldn't come from government coffers, but rather there should be a fundraiser as well as funds from corporate organizations to support these. This is all of that is also coming on the backdrop that governments or Ghanaians want government to do judicious or prudent use of government resources. And so the sports committee today, they first off approved the fundraising initiative launched by government, and then chairman of the committee, Ernest Nogbe, announced that they know there's been lots of concerns or calls on transparency, especially when it comes to the use of the taxpayers' money or government funds. And so we've had precedents where at a point the Black Stars said they were not even going to appear at the match unless money is sent to them via plane and all of that. They are promising that this time we're not going to see anything of the sort. They are assuring corporate institutions as well as individuals who want to contribute or donate to the fundraiser to do that, because they will ensure that government puts the money that will be raised into the rightful use. Now, government has a task, or the fundraising committee has a task of generating $30,000. The fundraiser that was held last week raised 12,000 Ghana cedis, and government has already donated some 13,000 Ghana cedis. And when you put all of that together, the fundraiser has been able to come up with like 50% of the money required, and it's left with 50 more. And the Committee on Sports, or Youth and Sports, says that they will not go back to government to take the 50% that is needed. They are calling on Ghanaians to give to them, and they will do that with the assurance that they are going to put the money to the rightful use. And so Ghanaians or institutions or individuals who want to contribute should be rest assured that the money they will give will be put for the rightful use. It will not find itself into the wrong hands or wrong pockets. All of that will go into the activities and preparations of the Black Stars towards their appearance at the World Cup, so that Ghana says it wants to move ahead of the semi-final stage that it went to this time, and hopefully bring back the cup. And that would be the goal for everybody.
Right. So kindly stay on a little bit for us, because we understand that the Minority Caucus on the Lands and Natural Resources Committee has also raised some concerns on the president's use of his brother's private jet for official travels. Now, the ranking member for the Lands and Natural Resources Committee of Parliament addressed the media this afternoon. I mean, briefly, what have they been saying?
Right, and also, this is not the first time the minority is raising these concerns about the use of the president's brother's jet for his travels. They say that the package that comes as president, it comes with allowances and preparations for the president to travel. And so if he wants to travel, the president should alert or inform that he wants to embark on this, so that the government mandated aircraft is made available. But the fact that he's using his own brother's aircraft to raise concerns of conflict of interest, because his brother Ibrahim Mahama has also put in a bid to acquire the Daman mining site. And so they say that if President Mahama is using his brother's jet, and his brother is also bidding to acquire the diamond mining site, then there could be President Mahama could use his position to influence the bidding process or the procedure for the site to go to his brother, and that will not be competitive. They also make a case that President Mahama, even when he was in opposition, made a case about receiving gifts with a threshold of 20,000. But if the president is going to the extent of receiving a gift as much as an aircraft from his brother, then it is also a practice of double standard. The president doesn't practice what he preaches, and so they are calling for the president to immediately halt the use of his brother's jet for all travels and go back to the government mandated or government provided jet for travels. If there are issues or there are safety concerns, he should alert the rightful authorities for them to be addressed than what they describe as illegally going above the law to use his brother's private jet.
Thank you so much, Grace, for those updates. And that was my colleague, Grace Hamwa Ajiman, bringing us some updates from Parliament, where the Sports and Youth Committee, has given the strongest indication and assurance that The government's fundraising drive towards the World Cup 2026 will be very transparent. And also, the Minorities Caucus on Lands and Natural Resources has also raised some concerns on the president's use of his brother's private jet for private travels. Now, away from that, we'll take you to Kaswa, where some aggrieved petty traders are demonstrating against the municipal chief executive for the Ewutu Senya East, Seth Banini, over his plans to eject over 1,200 petty traders under the shed in front of the old market lorry terminal. According to the petty traders, the municipal chief executive, Seth Banini, has given them up until tomorrow to leave the sheds or have themselves to blame. Now we'll cross over to our correspondent in the central region, Nanayao Asari, who has been engaging some traders this afternoon. Nanayao, good afternoon and thank you for joining us. You have spoken to a few of the traders in the Kaswa enclave. What have they been saying?
Thank you very much for having me this afternoon. This morning, over 1,200 Kaswa petty traders have demonstrated against the municipal chief executive, Seth Banini, over his deliberate intention to remove the petty traders from where they trade. Currently, we are the Ministry of Trade and Agribusiness. The traders are here to present their petition to the minister concerning what is going on at Kaswa. Without wasting much time, I have the secretary for Kaswa petty traders here. I want to engage him to tell us exactly what is going on. You are welcome to Trade News.
Thank you, sir. What is currently going on between Kaswa petty traders and the municipal chief executive for Kaswa, Mr. Seth Banini? What is going on at Kaswa within the petty traders and the Kaswa Assembly, or the MC Seth Banini and the MP Member of Parliament, Honorable Felix Nakoyo, is that within a short period of time now, we had a notice that they say we should vacate from where we are trading, and that it is purposely for a place that they are going to build stores. Apparently, for right now, we are over 1,200. And the number of that 1,200 that are under the shade, which is over there trading. As we are speaking, what they came out in to say is that they are coming to build a store that contains 80 to 120 stores. Looking at this extent, we realize that the store that are going to be built is not meant for us, because we are more than the store that is going to be built. Two, with the proposal and the question that came out is that what is the essence of the store? They said the store is going to be rented for 1,000 Ghana cedis in a new currency, which is the old currency, 1 billion per store. We are petty traders trying to manage ourselves under the shade, at which I can boldly say that some of the traders, even their capital is not even out to 2,000 Ghana cedis. Some are not even up to 1,000 Ghana cedis, but they manage it 24/7, every day, morning, evening, morning, they manage yourself. So now the MC has now come out that we should move from that place without even engaging us in the right manner, giving us a rightful place where we think it will be okay for us to settle for a while until the stores are being done. All these engagements have not been done. So we, the traders, have realized that the MCE and the assembly is not being fair with us. Before I end my story, I want you to use this media for you to ask the MCE and the assembly.
Nanayao, I believe those are some traders. A trader you were speaking to who is very displeased about the decision by the municipal chief executive, right?
The MC have given you tomorrow as a deadline to leave the place. How do you welcome this measure?
And that was our Central Region correspondent, Nanayao Asari, bringing us some update from the Kaswa municipality, where the municipal chief executive for Ewutu Senya has indicated plans to eject over 1,200 petty traders under the shed in front of the old market lorry terminal. Now, away from that, the Minister for Trade, Industry and Agribusiness, Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejari, has called for an end to bureaucratic processes at the country's borders that unduly undermine efficient trading activities between Ghana, Togo, and with the sub-region. According to the minister, excessive delays at the various entry points continue to hinder smooth trade and economic activities, emphasizing the need to rationalize procedures to enhance the free movement of goods, people, and services across the borders. A report by Faisal Abdul Idrisu.
The upgraded works which were carried out by Trademark Africa include renewable energy systems and improved digital connectivity aimed at supporting the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Speaking during the ceremony, the Minister for Trade, Industry and Agribusiness, Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, said the upgrade is a further step towards reducing long-standing trade barriers that continue to plague trade activities between the two countries.
We are looking forward to an improved situation at this border where people don't take too much time, where documentations are done on time, where unnecessary bureaucracy is a thing of the past, where people choose as a preference. One day is a day too long for a business person. And so all what Trademark is trying to assist these governments to do is to facilitate our trade.
She noted that the intervention aligns with a broader regional objective to seamlessly promote trade, enhance economic integration and boost productivity across West Africa.
We want this to be a shining example for the whole of Africa, that we are almost borderless, because things happen in a way that promotes trade, that facilitates trade, that helps women and youth to do their businesses, because of course more women and youth are in this kind of trade, so that trade is done seamlessly.
The ceremony was attended by a joint delegation of officials from both Togo and Ghana.
And that was a report by my colleague Faisal Abdul Idrisu. That brings us to the end of the midday news here on 3FM 92.7. For more news, please check our website at 3news.com. I am Enyonam Haligah. Business News is right up. Time for Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up this afternoon, Daylex Finance CEO Joe Jackson urges Ghanaians to take back ownership of the economy. Also in this bulletin, CEO of Star Oil urges strategic support for local firms to compete globally.
I find it important to scale up. I can't overemphasize the fact that we are in a global competitive environment. There is no longer an opportunity to stay small in many industries.
And much later in this bulletin, Ghana records 3 trillion cedis fintech transaction value in 2024, emerging as regional fintech powerhouse as transaction value triples the GDP. I am Enyonam Haligah. Details of our headlines and other stories, please stay with us. For staying with us. Now to our first story. Chief Executive Officer of Daylex Finance Joe Jackson has issued a bold challenge to local investors, calling for a surge in Ghanaian ownership within the private sector to ensure long-term economic stability. Speaking at MG's Economic Dialogue themed Who Owns the Ghanaian Economy, Joe Jackson pushed back against the common narrative the domestic market is too volatile for local capital. He argued that the heavy reliance on foreign direct investment often leads to capital flight, while profits are rationalized and repatriated rather than reinvested into Ghana. The dialogue was organized by Media General.
Say, for example, that you must have local partners who must raise some money locally. When MTN decided to go onto the local stock exchange, did they not raise some money locally? Why do we keep insisting that it should bring all the money? No, maybe The contribution required is 100 cedis. Maybe you want to bring 60, that's fine. But I want the 40 local because then I want to have a say in what goes on. I have a stake in what goes on, and I have some amount of control in what goes on. But we cannot continue to say it is so risky that we won't do anything about it, and that will allow them to bring all the capital and repatriate all the profits. Then they are tenants. Each year, we pay 2.5 billion in rent advance.
And you have the Chief Executive Officer of Daylex Finance, Joe Jackson. Now, still on MG's economic dialogue, the Chief Executive Officer of Star Oil, Philip Tieku, has called for deliberate policy to support and scale up Ghanaian companies, warning that businesses that remain small risk become uncompetitive in the global economy. Speaking at the economic dialogue themed "Who Owns the Ghanaian Economy?", the CEO emphasized the need for Ghana to intentionally promote strong local players across key industries.
I think we need to be very intentional in supporting those entities. In fact, it could be an incentive for ensuring that players who prefer to remain small and non-competitive also find it important to scale up. I can't overemphasize the fact that we are in a global competitive environment. There is no longer an opportunity to stay small in many industries. You will just not be economically viable. And so if you want to promote big players in each of these industries, I know in the brewery sector we have big players in there. What are we doing to push them and make them go into West Africa? And in the oil sector, like I said, we don't have strong players, but we can go into West Africa if we identify those that are doing well. And this can cut across all the industries.
And you had the Chief Executive Officer of Star Oil Ghana, Philip Tieku, was speaking at the Media General's economic dialogue, which was on the theme "Who Owns the Ghanaian Economy?". Now, away from that, Ghana has officially solidified its position as a premier digital finance hub in West Africa. According to a joint report by Tech in Ghana and GSMA, the nation's fintech sector recorded a staggering 3 trillion Ghana cedis, that's approximately $264 billion in total transaction volumes in 2024. This figure is particularly significant as it represents more than 3 times Ghana's nominal GDP for the year, signaling a profound shift towards a digital-first economy. Thus, more in the following 3 Business Report.
The report, titled Driving Digital Transformation of the Economy in Ghana, highlights a dramatic rise in financial access. Over 81% of Ghanaian adults now own a financial services account, a figure that dwarfs the sub-Saharan African average of less than 60%. This surge is largely attributed to mobile money, which has become the primary financial tool for both urban and rural populations. Despite leading in account ownership, the report notes that Ghana still lags behind some regional peers in specific digital inclusion metrics, suggesting that the ecosystem is far from reaching its ceiling. In Ghana, 44% of the adult population lives within reach of a mobile broadband signal but does not actively use the internet. This is slightly higher than the regional average of 42%. The report identifies 2 primary bottlenecks preventing millions from joining the digital economy. The high cost of smartphones remains the single largest barrier for the average citizen. A lack of technical skills limits how effectively individuals can navigate and trust digital platforms. The report observes that local startups are increasingly leveraging online platforms to scale operations internationally, connecting with global customer bases from their headquarters in Accra and Kumasi. The report concludes that targeted policy interventions, such as spectrum reforms and incentives for affordable devices, will be essential to maximizing the benefits of digitalization for job creation and national economic growth.
That was a 3 Business News Desk report on Ghana recording 3 trillion cedis fintech transaction in 2024, emerging as regional fintech powerhouse as the transaction value triples the GDP. Meanwhile, Ghana's fintech ecosystem continues its rapid ascent, securing $121 million in startup funding in 2024 alone. That's according to a joint report by Tech in Ghana and the GSMA. The report highlights a sophisticated landscape anchored by 25.3 million mobile money accounts, which process a staggering 3 trillion cedis across 8.1 billion transactions last year. Supported by 87 innovation hubs and proactive Bank of Ghana reforms, the nation now boasts of 81% financial inclusion rate, far surpassing the regional average of 60%. While mobile money remains the primary engine for growth, the report credits high-level interoperability and a collaborative network of banks and global partners for sustaining this momentum. Experts suggest that the continued policy consistency will be the secret sauce to unlocking the new phase of Ghana's digital economy. Now moving on, the Bank of Ghana has launched a revised Cyber and Information Security Directive for 2026, tightening oversight of digital risk as the country's financial system becomes increasingly technology-driven. Speaking at the launch in Accra, Governor Johnson Pandit Isiama said the directive marks a shift from traditional banking supervision to protecting critical data infrastructure and warned that cyber threats now pose systemic threats to the economy.
The updated framework expands regulation to fintechs and microfinance institutions, introduces governance rules for artificial intelligence, and strengthens the role of the Financial Industry Command Security Operations Center as the sector's emergency response hub. Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama says cybersecurity must now be treated as a national priority.
A framework that is designed for the challenges of 2018, in no way can it adequately solve the problems of today, now that we are in 2026. The threat landscape has changed, and so must we. We have moved beyond simple compliance towards a posture of active and collective cyber resilience.
Officially launching the directive, Chief of Staff Julius Debra stressed that cybersecurity is key to trust and safety in the financial sector.
That brings us to the end of Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. For more news, please check our website at 3news.com. I am Enyonam Haligah. Stay tuned.